Hi, and welcome to Environmental Science. Today's lesson, we are going to take a look at a demonstration on acid deposition, keeping in mind that acid deposition can be used interchangeably with acid rain, so we'll refer to it just as acid rain, but it can fall as, hail, snow, rain, so anything coming from clouds. As some of you read in the text, you'll remember that the northeastern part of America has really low pH levels, which would classify as acid rain. And there's two major contributors to that, and that would be sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. So today we're going to look at a demonstration of how nitrogen oxide produces acid rain. This will typically take place over hours to days, but our reaction will happen much quicker than that because we're in a smaller environment. So on the screen you see a well plate, and there are 4 outer wells filled with a green universal indicator. And that indicator changes color based on how acidic the air and the solutions that it's exposed to are. In the other wells we have just distilled water, and in one of the center well plates you will see a small piece of copper wire. So we do have some statues and buildings that contain copper, so you're actually going to see what can happen to copper in nature. So what we're going to do is place the well plate in a plastic bag, and that's going to allow us to trap the air so that the reaction can occur. And we're going to add some nitric oxide. So if you were doing this at home, you would definitely want to be wearing some goggles and not expose yourself to the nitric oxide. So I'm going to add a few drops of the nitric oxide to the well with the copper, and I'm going to seal the bag really quick. And now we watch. There's a little bit of glare on the bag, but now you can see there's some bubbling going on, so you can see there's a reaction taking place. And for those of you watching, make a prediction of what color you think that copper is changing. And if you're saying to yourself blue, you are correct. So that chemical reaction that's taking place is actually copper with our nitric acid, and that's forming copper nitrate and nitric dioxide. That's what's causing your acid rain, your nitrogen dioxide, that NO2. It also produces a little bit of water at the end of the reaction, which is obviously not harmful, but this nitrogen dioxide can combine with water in the natural environment, and that's what causes acid rain. And if you look at our 4 outer wells, you can start to see some of them, there's color change taking place. So the bottom right especially, you should be able to see like an orangish red color. That would be indicative of an acidic reaction. If it were basic, it would turn like a purple or blue. We can even further test and prove our point if we take some pH paper and we could dip it into one of the water wells to see how the water in the outside wells right around here has actually changed. So we'll do that really quick. I'm going to take this out of the bag so you can actually see the color change that's taken place. Now you can see it really clear. And I'm going to dip some paper, pH paper, into a couple of these. At different positions near the well. And if you can see my pH paper meter here, you can see that our pH of 1, which is really acidic, has like a red color or pink. Neutral is close to like a yellow, or a value of 7, and then our basic basic solutions would be a purple or 14. So if we take our papers out and compare them to these scales, you can see that right now it looks pretty neutral still. probably close to a 7 right now. As we give it a little bit of time though, and you start to see the color creep up the paper, you can start to measure lower pH levels, indicating that there's some acidity to the water. So this is our well plates after about 5 more minutes of reaction time. And you can see that now the outer wells, we've got like a really bright red, a yellow, and an orange. So over a longer period of time, you can see that the acid really begins to start to mix with the air and the water. Had we left the bag shut for a longer time, we would have seen an even larger change in pH for the water wells as well. But two things to keep in mind: this reaction in particular involved a nitrogen oxide reaction, but sulfur dioxide is also a common contributor to acid rain, as well as cars and manufacturing plants. So that's where we're getting a lot of the sulfur and nitrogen oxides from. And since we live in PA, I'll give you a minute to think about this, but why do you think we have so much acid rain in Pennsylvania? And if you're saying coal, that's exactly right. So the Northeast, we actually mine a ton of coal in Pennsylvania, and for that reason, we have a lot of bituminous coal, which is like a medium grade, and it has a higher sulfur content. So when we burn that coal and we mine it, it releases a lot of this into the atmosphere, and as a result, we get acidic rain or acid deposition. Keep in mind that these two terms, acid rain and acid deposition, can be used interchangeably. To give you some practice, here's the sample AP multiple choice question. The question is, what effect does acid rain have on an aquatic ecosystem? Your answer choices are A, leaching of aluminum ions, and leaching is just the extraction of a mineral by a carrier liquid. The destruction of metals and stones, an increase in animal life, a decline in plant growth, or nitrogen saturation. So I'll give you about 10 seconds here to make your answer choice. And if you said D, decline in plant growth, you are correct. So great job, and we'll practice some more of these in class, but thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.